Hello all, and welcome to a screen recording that I'm putting together for how to build a WordPress blog quickly. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's putting together his website. Gave him a couple tips, and I was thinking about it. One of the things a lot of people don't realize is, yes, WordPress is easy. There's a lot of stuff though that goes on in the back end, but it is easy enough for the general user to get a blog up and running quickly. You can do it probably in about a half hour tops to really get going so that you can start blogging that day. So I just wanted to put together a little video just for some demonstration on how to do that. I do consult in this area, SEO and other facets, but you didn't come here to talk about me. So we're going to go into this tutorial, and I hope that this helps you. So this is a test site that I just put together. Going into downloading WordPress, that kind of thing. If you're looking to build sites, you should know how to do that. If you don't, I can definitely put together a video on that. But we're going to start from, I've installed WordPress, and we're going to build a site so that we can start blogging on it quickly and efficiently. So we'll get into it. And I do have the capability to ping stuff. You'll see this circle if I really need to highlight something. So when you look at your back end of WordPress, this is it. This is your panel dashboard. So you have all your different menus and things that you can do here. So we've just installed WordPress, and it has automatically installed what's called a theme, and we'll go into that, and a test page. So the first thing, we'll show you where that is. We click on appearance, and it'll take us just directly into the themes menu, or you can have it slide over for you. So you have these three themes come automatically installed. This new 2019 theme, I'm not really a big fan of, to be honest. And I'm still working through that one just because it's different. This 2017, there has been some changes to the interface, which is great for the casual user, but for old school people like me, it was a little clunky, and we'll see that in just a moment. But it's a good system, and it is very user friendly. It's just something that I'm going to need to get used to, as I'm more used to digging in deep and customizations. They've made it very, very simple to do stuff, and just flipped my world on that. So I'm going to set up with the 2017 theme, and I'm just going to activate it for right now. We're not even going to go look at it, because we'll go look at it in a minute. So the first thing that you want to do when you step into your blogs is go check your settings. First thing, you're going to go to your settings, and we're just going to go through the setting list, and we're going to change a couple things. So this is where our site title is. Mine is titled test right now. Just for demonstration purposes, we're just going to do this. And we're going to do this. You do not really need a tagline, but it's a good thing to have. It's just adding more detail to your site. So that's pretty self-explanatory. This site title will not change your URL. That's important to know. The site title will not change your URL or your domain. So you can call your site whatever you want versus what your domain name is. We're just going to go through here, and this would normally be where you would have, you know, your contact email as the administrator, because if you are in the back end, you're either an administrator, an editor, and there's a couple other user roles, and we'll go into that in just a moment. Membership, I always leave this unchecked until I'm ready to do a membership style site, so leave that alone for now. New user default would be a subscriber when we do check that box. And these are the roles. You have administrator, editor, author, contributor, subscriber. Basically, a subscriber can comment, and it's just an escalation of privileges. And I can cover those more in a future vid or a training that I plan to put together. I'm English, United States. I'm going to set my time zone here. Yeah. They do put it a little weird in here. So I need to go to Los Angeles time zone. And just for the in the know, I'm located in San Diego, California, so but they don't list San Diego in this there we go, Los Angeles. Month, day, year is the one that I prefer to use. That's pretty standard. You can use whatever one you want though. Time format, again, use whichever one you want. There's not really too much difference, and it doesn't affect rankings or anything like that. This is more so for personal preference and keeping track of time via internet and stuff. And in case anybody is wondering, I'm using the free version of Flywheel as a test environment. So if you're familiar with you know, lamps, WAMPs, you know, Windows version of a lamp stack, it's a great little interface and just makes it easy to do this and host your local testing stuff. So not affiliated, just pretty bomb. So then we're going to look in our writing. You have your default post category. This will be uncategorized until you actually set up your categories for your sorts and stuff like that. And I'll show that, but just know that that's going to stay uncategorized for now. Default post format. Always just go with standard, which is, you know, the blog gives you a featured image, spot, and all that kind of stuff. It's just the easiest thing to use. Right, so if you want to post from right, so this is how you would post via email to your WordPress. I don't really do a lot of this, being honest, but it's not difficult to set up. It's just, you know, mail forwarding and that kind of thing. Save changes. Depending on who you ask. Yep. So you absolutely need to hit the save changes every time. So, let's see. Oh, master. Simple things. Pay attention to details as you're going through. I'm used to just doing this and not talking while I'm doing it, so forgive me for the mistake. But always pay attention to detail. Hit save before going to each page because it just resets. leave that. Week starts on Monday. Save changes there. Still got no subscribers. Reading, because we did writing. Your homepage, you can totally just do a blog. And for now, I'll just leave this setting alone, and we'll come back into this in a moment. But I do always recommend a static home page. You can make that. It doesn't have to be called home. It can be any static page. Your post page will be whatever you designate, whatever page that you designate to import your blog posts from once you post them. So it's just a page that holds all your blog posts. That's all it is. So most 10 is a pretty good amount. I normally just cut it down to about 5 or 6, just simply because that way it stays above the fold. You may or may not use syndication feeds depending on your needs, so come back and change this if you need to. We are going to set this up without really relying on syndication feed. Feed for each article in the feed show. Always just use summary. It makes people click into it, and again, save space. It gives you a good character limit. Just the highlights, right? And then this box, you can check this or leave it unchecked. If you're building your site at a time, I advise checking it, just so that it sort of discourages bots and all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to index your site until you are ready to index it and that good stuff. True statement though, as long as you are in your back end, pretty much people can't access your site, so it's a good idea. And there'll be a redirect or whatever that comes up in Google if somebody tries to come to your site, like, hey, maintenance mode or whatever. But if you're honestly building your site, it's a good idea to have like an under construction landing page, and there's a couple different plugins that you can do that with. But we're not going to worry about that today. Again, save changes. Did that. Yeah, we just did that discussion. So this is all your stuff about like your blog posts and how people can comment. Pretty much the defaults are good. Only check one of these, otherwise you may confuse your emailer. So make the decision on yourself. Anyone posts a comment or a comment is held for moderation. And especially when you're starting out, I advise, comment must be manually approved. So that's just a good way of making sure that you don't get spam on your site and that kind of thing. This is a great option. An author must have previously approved comments to keep a lot of that stuff off your site. Now, there are ways around that for unscrupulous people, but that's another topic. And you can hold a comment in the queue if it contains more links, and that's get into that spam, that kind of thing. Pretty much you can blacklist things. It's very customizable back here, and these can be an entire topic in and of themselves. This is where you can choose whether to show avatars or not in your blog, and I think they're pretty cool. They actually go down all the way to X-rated. I've never seen anybody use one in a WordPress blog. Well, they exist, but that's a very catered to audience, and that goes in line with what you're setting your website up for. We're focusing on just a pretty standard blog, how-tos, that kind of thing set up here. So pick your default avatar style. I'm a big fan of the retro or the monster just because they're fun. So I'm going to choose monster this time. Why not? Let's save my changes. Okay, so you'll see up here, because I'm the admin, this is the little dude that it gave me. And that'll be there if I ever comment or do posting and stuff like that in my blog, because that is my user role, is the admin. Media. This is the section that controls, thumbnail size, medium size, pics, and how you want to organize your files when you're uploading. So you shouldn't need to change any of these, but if you want to, that's where the setting is. Permalinks. This is an important setting because this is what the structure of your site is based on. So absolutely make sure this is set, and once it's set, you don't want to mess with it. Messing with it will just make a jumble, and whoever is administering your site, or if you are administering your site, will make it a headache for you. So just this post name is the best way to organize your site for your URL structure. These others will work, but this is the cleanest, really most SEO friendly, and it's just easier both for the search engine and for users to follow. So just use the post name and you'll be golden. Alright, you got some other categories in here and stuff. I'm just going to click the save changes and make sure I don't goof anything again. WordPress has started developing a privacy settings page that you are allowed to use so that you can develop your privacy policies for your sites. These days, pretty much the rule is all sites need to have a privacy policy regarding what information that you're collecting. Like if you have an email list, or you have memberships, you're taking payments or stuff like that, you need to disclose in your privacy policy how any information in your property is going to be used, if it's going to be sold, what kind of rights the user has under your property, what kind of rights you have to the information, etc. So they've done a nice template for you that you can add into your site so that you are just in compliance. But once you get up and rolling, you definitely want to develop that privacy policy and edit it so that it really represents your business and how you use data. So that's the settings. So after doing the settings, I've installed and activated my theme. The next thing I do is I go straight into my plugins. And we're going to add a couple plugins for some maintenance tasks and other application. Just straight out the gate. Now again, this is just to get you up and running as quickly as possible. I'm going to release another video on how to build a site, like literally in about the same amount of time. But this is, let's get rolling and get this up. This will probably take a little bit longer than a half hour, but you will see the point. Actually, I'm going to go through, I'm going to leave the privacy policy because we will want that, but I'm going to delete all the stuff that they give me. We do that, click on it, and here's a trash button. Put it in its trash. It's a two-step process, and then you'll want to go up here where it says trash, and just tell it to delete permanently. You don't have to do that right away or anything like that, but it's just good practice to keep your stuff clean. That's what I do. We won't have any comments right now. We'll go into the posts because we do have a demo post, and that'll say hello world. I will leave that for right now, simply so that we can see something. We won't need the page straight out the gate. Actually, we may. Anyway, we're going to go to add new plugins. So plugins in the WordPress ecosystem are basically, think of them like apps on a phone. There's pretty much a plugin for everything. There's a lot of free plugins, freemium plugins, and premium plugins. The real difference between each of those is how much can you do in on the back end for free versus, you know, what other services that you have to pay for, or the premium plugins, which are, you know, just, hey, it does everything that you can imagine in this one plugin for that given function. So I use a lot of free plugins because I know how to go in and manipulate the different plugins the way that I want them to be. If you want full functionality, definitely use paid versions. And it's just a dependent on which one's the best, and we can get into that, but I'm going to go into one of the first plugins that I would install. Let's see, what is that? WordPress all-in-one. Yeah, here we go. WordPress all-in-one migration. So the reason for this plugin is recently I had a nice little instance with this. I did not maintain a backup of my site. Yes, a person who's been in tech for 20 years did not maintain a backup of his site. And with the recent update to WordPress and my confusion, jacked up my site. So that's just a lesson. Always, always, always have backups. It'll save you a headache later. For me, it's not a big deal because the site was, you know, a test case, and I'm rebuilding it. But it can be detrimental. You lose your entire database. You lose your entire platform. Always, always, always have that. Now, what this will actually allow us to do is once we start taking or making updates and that kind of thing. See, now it's giving us this little menu for that plugin, and we can do exports, imports, and backups. This is how you can back up your site or move your site to another domain. You want this plugin. This version's free, and I believe that you can go up to a pretty decent sized website, like in their free version of the application. And using some stacked stuff, you can also still do everything with free plugins, but you can do pretty much any kind of upload, download with this plugin, and this is free. Because unless you're looking at you know, bigger corporation size sites, this is a good one to start with. So we've loaded up the all-in-one migration. So now that I have that in place, I'm going to go check on my appearance because we have the theme activated. We've installed a plugin. So let's see what's doing, right? Visit the site. Okay, so this is just your standard WordPress install, and right now it's showing the only page for as a blog because I don't have a static page set up. So really, to start blogging today, we're ready to go. Like, you could just start filling this out, making posts, and that's a lot of what we'll do. But I'm going to go into this customize and kind of set up this page a little bit, because each theme that you use will have some different customization options versus like your pages and your post options for look and feel. And this is where a lot of people can get kind of confused. So I'll try to quickly walk through this to kind of just show how we would do that. Oh, nice, it still has that. Cool. So we have a couple other section options because this theme, the way that it comes, I guess we do have a home page. I'll try to publish this and see what this does. Thought I made a mistake. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Nope. Cool. Alright, so the way that this theme looks, it has these different sections. And right now it's just, you know, some random stock art. But you can see the potential here. You can have like the different scroller and that kind of stuff. So this, it's a lovely, lovely starter theme. And, you know, imagination is your limit for potential. Nice and clean. Different sections, because what these amount to is like home, home, and you would edit this text, and this pic corresponds with that. Or you can go to the individual page. So if I click the home page, oh no, that, because now it's just doing, we'll click the about page. Alright, to give that demonstration. So this is your about section, and then it has, let's see, your footers. There's a search bar. Social links to your profiles is what these would be, and this is just your standard setup. And then if I go to my blog page, this will display whatever blogs in the series that I want. You've got a sidebar over here, widget, and then here's your footer again. So think of this like a container. Between up here the header, down here this line is the footer in this case, and this over here is a sidebar widget. Okay, so we have these things set up. Now, depending on what your goal is, you can go through and start editing from the home page, but we want a blog today. So, but I will customize some things on this page real quick. Let's just go through here. Now, when these little pencil icons pop up, if you don't know where something is here, these pencil icons will kind of guide you into these menus. So this here, customizing the header media, and this is your current header image. I could add a different image or whatever. Let's see, can I add? I'm just not going to add a different header. Do have to edit that part out though. This would be where your tagline is. These are your different sections. So like you have your about section, you can edit stuff. And once you're in the about section, you can change this featured image. Excuse me. You got the 2 column or the 1 column. That's up to preference. Menus. So this is your top menu here. Social links menu. It's actually down here. You can view all your locations of menus. and those are the only two. Put your address here, and this is a widget. A widget is, I'll go into the widgets menu in just a moment, but it's just some code that you can, and it's not even code, it's a prefabricated box or graphic or whatever the need needs to be for a section on your site. Really, really simple. Don't even need to code, but there is ways to add code to these widgets. So right now we are all set up as far as having the capability to blog. Okay. So we're going to go back to our dashboard, and if you didn't see, hit the home button, because you can go home, visit site up here, and I want to go to create a page. So I'll go do it this way because I can just add pages, and you can do it up here. You can check your comments here. So there's a lot of ways to do this. So we're going to go to pages this way and just look at all pages. This is just so that you see the menus, but there's other ways to get to them. Now these are pages that were generated once we really activated the theme. And that's what they correspond to. Actually, I don't want pages, I want posts. But that's a good demonstration. This actually is where your pages are housed. Because WordPress is a CMS. What that stands for is a content management system. So you have pages, posts, and other media, and it's all organized for you. This is what you would get if you were to say, you know, put together your front end and back end using one of the languages. This is what you get. There's a lot of stuff in there, but that's outside of the scope of this. So we're going to go to the post section. Same deal. We're going to go to all posts and just see what the deal is. We have this Hello World blog post that they put up. And that's kind of an inside joke with programmers, because the first thing that you ever program in any programming language is Hello World. Why? Because hello. So we want a new post. So I'm going to add a new post. Now this is the new interface, and this actually works fairly well. They use this style called blocks. So this is where I can add a title for my posts. So I'm going to call this, not hell, helping you WordPress blogging setup. All right, so that's the title of my post. Now that'll be there, and you can see here, you can add a different heading, you can insert, you can add images, you can do a cover, or no, that one's the gallery, sorry. So this is basically, it's a kind of a different style of drag and drop builder, but it's not quite there, but it's a pretty decent system. So I prefer another plugin doing things the way that I used to, and the old editor, but again, this is great for the new user. So we're going to add a block, or you can choose which block you want, but since it's already doing text, so this is where, you know, here's my title. See how it has your permalink up here? Right now it's just saying, you know, test local. I can change that to whatever, but that's going to go directly to my blog in that keyed location, so I don't want to change that. And right now it's private anyway because I haven't published it. So I'll publish that right now and see how that changes. So right now we just have title heading. So now we're live with that. I'm aware there, buddy. So you see how in my permalink it added that in where that question mark and number was. So that's now part of my URL structure, and that's what we want. This makes, you know, searching and etc. better for you. And so now we've got this. Now we can start typing. So how am I helping you with? You can do different things here. Right now we're doing text, add heading, pictures. Let's see. Throw in here a bulleted list. So then it just gives me a bulleted list, and you know your different functionality that you need for the tools to create a bulleted list. So what did we do today? We set up a theme, downloaded a plugin, let's see, what else did we do? Learned about posts and URL structure. And you can keep going with that. So the cool thing is that once you have this block set up, you have this navigation that you could be clicking on, like if your post got really long, it automatically keeps track of your words, your headings, your paragraphs, how many blocks you have. It's a pretty, like I say, it's getting used to it, but it's a really good interface, and I'm pretty happy with it overall. I would personally change some things, but that's just me nitpicking. Like over here, they've even added in, I don't know if it'll let me do it. Okay, we'll do it this way because I might need something else. Quote. I love WordPress. Me. All right. So there's that block. Now what I can do, theoretically do, is grab it or move up. So you have pretty much complete control over the entire block, sans your heading. So you can have your permalinks, and you can edit these and change them and all that kind of stuff. It's just a good idea not to. And you know, change your titles and all that. And the permalink should actually update as you change your title. But that's pretty much how you would build your page. Now we're going to update it. Oh, and they've got a couple different categories here that you can do different stuff with. Like here's the permalink structure I was talking about. Categories, yes. So this is where you would add a new category. So I'm going to add the category WordPress tutorial, for instance. So I have WordPress tutorial. I'm going to actually uncheck uncategorize because now it is categorized. You can make subcategories and all that kind of stuff. Tags are different than categories. Tags are basically what you would use to let people outside of your site find your content. It's the easiest way to explain it. There's a lot of different tags in the internet world. So if you're familiar with the hashtag, for instance, that's all it is. So you can make tags for your posts that, you know, makes stuff searchable for those specific tags. So in this case, I would again just, hey, WordPress tag. Why not? Because I would put WordPress and tutorial, for instance. Don't go crazy with tags. That gets into, you know, SEO and all that kind of stuff, but 1 to 3 tags per piece of content is more than enough to get the ball rolling. There's other techniques and that kind of thing, but don't go crazy. WordPress. So I just added those couple tags. Here I can set a featured image if I wanted to. That's what's going to appear at the top of your blog post. I'm going to put this here drink there. Your title should almost always have something to do with your keystone content, and I can go into that another video again, but you know, we're going to leave that alone for right now. You don't need a caption, but what you do need to put in is alt text. So alt text should also represent what your keystone content is, but the real purpose of the alt text is if your image does not show up, that's what somebody's going to read. Anybody who's used the internet for any amount of time has seen, you know, a broken link of an image, and it should say something next to it so that you can see what you should have seen. And then a description is a place where you can describe in a bit more detail what it's a picture of. Again, don't go crazy here. It should reflect your main idea of your content is the best way to describe it. And that will help you maintain SEO as you build, as opposed to having, you know, people do it later. So I'm just going to select it and leave it as is for now. I'll go deeper into this at another point. So I've set a featured image. So I'm going to update this. Let it save here. I'm going to view my post. All right. Let's see what this awesome post looks like. Oh, that's huge. Let's go this way. There we go. Sorry. I was looking at it from the home page and it just showed up with the image that I happened to use. So helping you with your WordPress blogging, and this is what it'll look like. And it looks all nice, clean, and whatever you put underneath that block. And then, you know, down here you should put like some social link icons, like, hey, share this. Because these links are to your stuff. What you want is your readers to share stuff to their stuff. You know, when they comment and stuff like that. So that's pretty much how you set up a blog. And you know, you can customize the page as you see fit, but that's how to set up and everything. And really, I could have been done a lot quicker with just setting up the blog, but you know, when you're teaching people, that's it cuts into the time for, you know, actually doing this. If I was to say start from scratch and just get a blog set up for somebody, it really shouldn't take just to set up the blog. We're not talking about download. We're not talking about putting content onto a page, but just to set it up so that somebody can start blogging, maybe a half hour. But now see, right now I'm the administrator and I'm not going to be the one adding content, right? So now we'll go back into our dashboard. So I've installed the main all-in-one plugin so that I can export file. This shouldn't really take too long. Yeah, whole website's 5 megabytes, so I'm going to download this. I'm going to put you on my desktop. Sure. So this file come to the desktop and everything. So now I have a backup of my entire site. So using this plugin, I can go in, import the site. You'd say import from or drag and drop it into there. Oh, this is the maximum that I was talking about, the 300 megabytes. And unless your site is encroaching really large, like hundreds of pages, etc., this plugin will work as a totally free option. So just FYI, 300 megabytes. You saw what I have so far is like 5. It would take a little bit of time before you get up that high, so this is a good option. So, and what that will actually have is whatever plugins that I had installed on the site, it's making a copy of this site. And then on your new website, you download this all-in-one migration plugin again, and you upload that file that we just downloaded, and you move the site. Trust me, the old school way of doing things with FTP upload and all that kind of stuff, this is gold. Anybody that's worked on back end, just love it. It's great. So I hope that gave you a bit of information on how to get up and running. And obviously you need to tweak for taste and what you're actually doing, but and get your assets together. But this is a way that you can start blogging in half an hour, or just start getting digital assets ready to rock and roll. And when you're publishing, so see, we can go back in to edit this post. I'll show you a couple options that you have here. You can also schedule your posts out, so you can hit peak times that people might be searching on the net, or if you want to share it to your blog first and then post it up in social media, for instance, you can schedule it, that kind of stuff, right here where you're going to publish. And then when you decide what you're doing, you just hit update. It's a really, really good intuitive system. Like I said, content management system, easy to set up. If you'd like further information, contact me. Please like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff, and I'll keep more of this content coming. Thank you for your time, and have a great one.